Goeiemôre. Dit is Vrydagoggend 13 Maart 2026 en ek groet julle hartlik hier vanaf die walle van die Groot Rivier. Die stryd in die Midde-Ooste tussen die VSA en Israel aan die een kant teen Iran aan die ander kant is besig om teen 'n ewige tempo voor te stuur. Ons sien dan ook toenemende aanvalle deur die Amerikaanse lugmag waarvan die grootste ontploffings waargeneem word daar in Homs. Ek hoop ek spreek dit reg uit, maar in die stad van Homs, die grootste ontploffings wat daar gesien word. Ons sien dan ook hoe deurlopend kommentaar gelewer word deur Donald Trump dat hulle besig is om te wen en dat hy baie hard en sterk gaan optree en die dreigemente ten opsigte van dit duur voort. Maar toenemend hoor ons ook 'n stem uit die ander kant uit wat daarvoor praat en sekere voorwaardes stel vir die beëindiging van die oorlog. Ek en sekere ander senior oud weermaglede het op 'n stadium van ons loopbane het ons 'n kursus gedoen waar tydens jy jou vyand moet ontleed en sy vermoëns moet kan verstaan. En dit is baie belangrik en ek dink baie van die ouens, die manne, kyk met daardie oogpunt na hierdie stryd tussen Amerika en Iran. Want omdat ons pro-westers is en ons eintlik Iran as 'n vyand sien, is dit belangrik dat ons tog na Iran se vermoëns moet gaan sien, gaan kyk om werklik te kan besluit. Maar intussen moet 'n mens ook objektief wees en bewus wees van die feit dat daar deurgaans 'n geweldige propaganda-oorlog heers. Ek gaan so 'n paar videoklips vir julle speel vanoggend en hier is die eerste ene.
الظاهر في قنبلة اتفجرت في قدام الداكندون السيارة. ده كلها السيارة ممكن معبية سلاح ولا معبية فيها قنابل فيها شو مش عارف. المهم ده كلها الحاجات اللي جات هنا قدام الداكندونس سيارة الرايش ده. والعالم هنا جاي تجربة شديدة خلاص.
Hierdie is beeldmateriaal wat geneem is in Tel Aviv, Israel, van nog 'n missiel wat deurgekom het en daar word gepraat dat die Iron Dome op hierdie stadium lyk of hy heeltemal aan die misluk is en nie meer dieselfde effek het nie. Ek druk nou verkeerde knoppies hierso en dis hoekom dit gebeur. Hoe dit ook al sy, Amerika het sekere voorwaardes wat hulle gestel het ten opsigte van vrede. Hulle demand dat Iran sekere goed moet prys gee, sekere goed moet doen, dan sal daar vrede wees. Maar dan kom Iran en hy sê, ons demands, ons sal aanhou veg totdat hierdie demands aan volbring is. Nou ek gaan beide vir julle speel, dit gaan 'n bietjie lank word, maar luister daardeur, moenie ophou tot aan die einde nie, want ons gaan uitkom by hoe hierdie situasie ons gaan dryf tot potensieel die gebruik van die Simpson opsie van Israel. So dit is belangrik dat ons na alles luister tot aan die einde en nie halfpad ophou kyk en dan dit wat 'n mens wil sê net weer eens bevraagteken nie.
And I think this is the real reason why they are desperate to get out of this war. You're not seeing these photos, even through excessive, extreme censorship. Tel Aviv right now is being absolutely flattened. Now, the propaganda from the Trump administration is that we've taken out their Navy, we've taken out their missile launchers, we've taken out their missiles, they don't have an air force. Okay, but if that is true, then how is Tel Aviv being flattened? They're not doing it themselves. So there is a desperation sinking in. The Israelis have fired all of their interceptor missiles. They can't stop these missiles coming in right now, and it's getting into the dangerous phase. I had two videos, though, I wanted to play because, I mean, we could probably spend this whole show doing videos of Trump, but he said a couple of things yesterday that led me to believe that he's panicking too, because to me it looks like he's trying to shift blame for starting this war onto his own son-in-law and Steve Witkoff.
A while ago, they told Mr. Witkoff, who is standing right over here, they said, they actually said, we want to keep building, essentially, in a real nutshell, we want to continue to build nuclear weapons. If we didn't knock out Midnight Hammer, if we didn't knock out their Iranian potential, if we didn't do that with Midnight Hammer, they would have had a nuclear weapon. They would have used it long before now.
We can cut it now. The essence of what he says is that Steve Witkoff told him that the Iranians told Steve Witkoff that we want to keep building nuclear weapons. There's no evidence for that. The interlocutors say this did not happen. It's a flat out lie. So either Witkoff was lying when he told the president that, or the president is lying right now when he said that. But now that the other one is probably even worse, because he admitted that he started this war on the advice of two real estate developers and a Fox News personality. Go on to this next one, because this is not how you start wars.
Return, and the United States found it intolerable, in my opinion, based on what Steve and Jared and Pete and others were telling me, Marco, so involved, that
So
I thought
based
that they
on
were going to
what
attack us.
Steve, Jared, and Pete, and Marco, to a degree, were telling him he had to go in now. This is why we have Congress. This is why we deliberate over wars. You don't send your real estate developer friends over to a place to do the negotiation, and they come home and say, wow, it's bad, and you go to war.
See, we know that we go to war at the will of the president, but he also assumes he can end it on his terms. But somebody gave him some advice I thought was pretty good advice. Guess what, Mr. President? You don't have the, well, you might think you have the authority, but you don't have the clout, you don't have the ability that the Iranians have, and they predicted Iran will decide when the war is over.
Baie interessant daar dat die blame game begin na vore kom oor wie het besluit dat wie waar betrokke moet wees in hierdie hengse oorlog daar in die Midde-Ooste. Maar dan wil ek ook met julle deel, wat sê Iran? Wat wil hulle hê moet gebeur? En dit is so 4 minute videoetjie. Kyk dit gerus.
At 11:47 p.m. last night, Mojtaba Khamenei addressed the Iranian people for 12 minutes, but he was not speaking to the Iranian people. Every word was aimed directly at Washington. For the first 6 minutes, he recited a list of what he called American crimes: the assassination of his father, the killing of Iranian scientists, the decades of sanctions, the support for Israel, the occupation of Arab lands by American forces. It was standard rhetoric. Then at the 7-minute mark, his tone shifted. He stopped talking about the past and started talking about the future. He laid out 3 demands. The full text of these demands was transmitted to the State Department through Switzerland. Most major networks reported that Iran called for American withdrawal from the Middle East. That is accurate but incomplete. What they did not report is the specific language Khamenei used and the exact timeline he gave. Demand 1. All American military forces must begin withdrawal from Iraq, Syria, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia within 30 days, not eventually, not after negotiations, within 30 days. Demand 2. The United States must lift every sanction imposed on Iran since 1979, including all banking restrictions, all oil export limitations, and all technology transfer bans within 60 days. Demand 3. The United States must pay reparations to Iran for what Khamenei called the economic war that has cost Iran over $800 billion in lost revenue over the past 4 decades. He set the figure at $500 billion to be paid over 10 years. Then came the part that has the Pentagon in crisis mode. Khamenei said if these demands are not met, Iran will take 3 specific actions. Action 1. Iran will close the Strait of Hormuz to all commercial shipping effective immediately upon the expiration of the 30-day deadline. Action 2. Iran will activate what he called defensive military partnerships with Russia and China, including the possibility of foreign military bases on Iranian soil. Action 3. Iran will exercise its right under international law to develop and deploy a full-spectrum nuclear deterrent capability. He did not say Iran would pursue a nuclear weapon. He said Iran would deploy one. That language matters. It suggests they already have it. While Khamenei was delivering this address, something else was happening. Chinese state media released a statement at exactly 1:15 a.m. Eastern Time, 90 minutes after Khamenei finished speaking. The statement said China recognizes Iran's legitimate security concerns and supports Iran's right to defend itself against foreign aggression. It called for immediate negotiations based on respect for Iranian sovereignty. Russia issued a similar statement 40 minutes later. Both countries used language that essentially endorsed Iran's position. Why did Iran do this? Follow the power. Mojtaba Khamenei is not his father. Ali Khamenei spent decades balancing different factions inside Iran. He negotiated. He compromised. He played a long game. Mojtaba does not have that luxury. He was installed by the military. The IRGC put him in power. They expect him to deliver results. Sources inside Iranian opposition groups say Mojtaba and the IRGC leadership had a meeting within hours of his appointment. The message was clear. We made you supreme leader. You will give us what we want. What they want is the complete removal of American influence from the region, the economic resources to rebuild Iran's military, and the international legitimacy that comes from forcing the United States to negotiate as an equal. This shifts power from Washington to Tehran in a way that has not happened since 1979. For 4 decades, the United States has dictated terms to Iran. Sanctions, pressure, isolation, military threats. Iran had no leverage. Now they have leverage. 7 American soldiers dead. Oil at $121. A leaked Pentagon document saying the war is unwinnable. China and Russia openly backing Iran's position. The Strait of Hormuz as a loaded gun pointed at the global economy. Mojtaba Khamenei is not begging for negotiations. He is demanding surrender. What historians will call this moment depends entirely on what happens next 72 hours. If the United States accepts negotiations on Iran's terms, it will be remembered as the end of American dominance in the Middle East. If the United States rejects negotiations and the war continues, it will be remembered as the beginning of an unwinnable conflict that drained American resources and credibility for years. This is not a minor foreign policy challenge. This is a fundamental restructuring of global power. The global economy is pricing in the possibility that Iran actually follows through. And here is what makes this worse.
Julle het dan ook gehoor wat hierdie stem daar sê van Trump het 2 opsies, of hy onttrek, hy voldoen aan hierdie vereistes van Iran, en dan verloor hy alle teenwoordigheid van Amerikaanse magte in die Midde-Ooste, ook sy invloed en sy aansien, of hy besluit om dit nie te doen nie, en dis net nog 'n never-ending oorlog. Unwinnable one, soos dit hier beskryf word. Nou goed, ek het hierdie video spesifiek met Grok deurgegaan. Daar's geen aanduiding dat dit kunsmatig geskep is nie, maar daar is altyd 'n kans dat so iets deurglip, maar ek het op verskeie bronne die soortgelyke demands gesien wat Iran stel voordat daar vrede sal wees. En dit bring ons nou tot by die Simpson opsie. As hulle besluit, hulle wil in elk geval die oorlog beëindig ten alle koste, maar steeds hulle posisie behou, dan laat hulle met geen ander opsie anders as die Simpson opsie nie. Nou die Simpson opsie van Israel is die gebruik van kernwapens as die finale gebruik om te wen. As ons kyk na die verwoesting in Israel, die verwoesting wat ons in Iran sien, die leiers van die verskeie lande onderskeie, wat hulle sê, wat hulle eis, en ons kyk na al die misinformasie wat daar buite rondvlieg, hoofsaaklik gedryf deur die hoofstroom media se manipulasie, dan op die ou einde van die dag is die Simpson opsie die enigste een wat vir hulle oop is. En met die verklaringe van China en Rusland ter ondersteuning van Iran, beteken dit dat as die Simpson-opsie gebruik word, daar wel reaksie verwag kan word, optrede verwag kan word. Intussen is die enigste skepe wat deur die straat van Hormuz gaan, is dan nou die van China en Indië, want Indië het 'n ooreenkoms met die Iranese regering bereik. En daai skepe kom deur, terwyl ons toenemend sien hoe die ander skepe met missiele getref word, hoe hulle brand. Dit gaan nie goed nie. Dit gaan nie goed met die wêreld nie. Die implikasies vir ons almal is verryklik. Dit gaan ons lewens permanent verander. 'n Wêreld soos ons hom geken het tot nou toe is klaar besig om radikaal te verander. En net dit wat in die volgende klompie weke gebeur, gaan ons hele toekoms herdefinieer. Geniet vanoggend jou kondensmelk koffie. Jammer vir die lang uitsending en geniet julle naweek. Ek is maandagooggend weer terug by julle met al die jongste gebeure oor die wêreld.